Hey, what's up everyone? Jay White here. Thanks for joining us on location at beautiful PGA National here in Florida. We're on a little reward trip. We're down here with some of our top performers. We just had a great round of golf today on the Squire course here at PGA. It was great. Looking forward tomorrow to playing Seminole here in Florida. It's going to be fantastic, and it couldn't help me but start to think about the attrition and how attrition in businesses matter. It's predictable. I can't say it's avoidable 100% because literally all businesses deal with attrition in some way, shape, or form. But I just thought, hey, what a great opportunity to talk about this topic. And so I just want you to realize that, look, all businesses have people start and fall off. My coach in business, he used to own a franchise, and he constantly talks about how when he began his franchise, they had hired, roughly 30 people that they were going to train as employees of their franchise. The next day when training arrived, they had already lost about 30% of those people. And by the time they sold that franchise, they had one person left from the original 30, and even that person had left for a while and came back. And so you need to realize that attrition is a predictable part of literally any business. I want you to think about any place you've ever worked and whether or not they had the exact same set of employees from start to finish. It just doesn't happen. And so there's a couple of different stats or rates that I would want you to pay attention to in your business. You have this, whether or not you've paid attention to it or not is irrelevant. It's been happening in the background. You have both a recruiting rate and you have an attrition rate, which means you have a rate at which people are beginning in your business and you have a rate at which people are leaving your business. All right, and so obviously we want to be attracting and recruiting more good people to come and work with us than we want to have leaving. What you're going to probably notice is that if your business is relatively small, if you're struggling to grow, probably you're either not recruiting or you are recruiting, but people are leaving you faster than you're bringing them in. And so there's a bunch of different things that I want to give you in this next 5, 6, 7 minutes as we get going through here. What I want to do is I want to help you decrease your attrition rate. This is not going to be a video about recruiting. It's going to be a video about keeping people around with you. So I'll take you back. There was a long time ago in one of my first offices that I was growing up in, and I remember walking down a hallway, and there was a closed door meeting happening between a coach and his team. And I'll tell you, the tone coming out of that meeting, I gotta say, it's not one that I would have ever wanted to be a recipient of. And I realized in that moment that people really do want coaches more than they want bosses. I think most of us have probably spent some time in our life with some bosses that we could have done without. And I just remember thinking in that moment, man, people want to be coached, they want to be led, they don't want to be bossed around. And so one of the things that I'd encourage you to take a look at is how do you speak to your group, right? Do you talk to them in a coaching, nurturing way, or do you hammer on them when they're not doing the things that you would hope that they would be doing? People want coaches, not bosses, which will lead me into my next point. I want you to really realize, I want you to really believe me when I tell you this, that people stay where they feel the best. That's how humans work. Where I live, if you take a look over the last 3 years, 4 years, the conditions that the worker in my province have had to deal with, they've been less than ideal, to say the least. Right? Let me give you some of the emotions that people experience generally as they go throughout their workday. They're experiencing scarcity. They're experiencing fear of making a mistake. They're experiencing a lot of negativity. They're seeing their friends get laid off. They're seeing people get fired for small things. And they're just scared in general that they're next, right? And so as they go throughout their day, whatever that happens to be, let's call it 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, they generally don't feel good. And then all of a sudden later on, they get a chance to be around you, or they get a chance to be around me. You have to realize that in that moment, it's now their emotions that they're experiencing now lie in our hands. And if people tend to stay where they feel better, this is a major opportunity for us to decrease our attrition by making sure that they feel good around us, right? I remember way back, long time ago, I'm talking about 14, 15 years ago, when I first got started back in the day in the fitness industry. I had this manager that, I'm going to say, other than my dad, this was the first guy that ever gave me real positive feedback when I did a good job. I mean, I would do some small, really good thing, but he would just make me feel like he'd run a marching band through the place for me if he could. And 13, 14 years later to this day, I'm still talking about that guy because I remember how he made me feel. So you've got to realize all the time, people just got beat up all day. Now they're going to come hang out with you. How are you making them feel? This is your opportunity to make them stay with you for a long time. If they feel great around you, if they feel prosperity around you, if they feel positive around you, if they feel all these wonderful emotions where they've experienced negative ones in other places, they're much more likely to stay with you. So ask yourself this question. In general, how do people feel after an interaction with me? It's a powerful question to ask. And I think that certainly I could ask myself it more, and likely you could too, but we want to make people feel great for having been around us. There's some ways that we can do that. Let me give you four tips here really quick on how to keep more people around, right? We want to decrease your attrition, grow your business. Number one, look guys, be very lavish with your praise, right? Don't hold back on letting somebody know that they did a good job. I mean, 14 years later, I'm still talking about Mark from the gym because he just made me feel like I did great. And today my coach is different, and he still does the exact same thing though. I know when I did a good job because my coaches are very lavish in their praise for me. It's huge, right? Number two, I want you to constantly talk about how your product, how your service, how your business helps people. I'm going to tell you that most people do not get started with you because they can make a bunch of money. They get started with you because they know that with you, with your team, with your company, they can go out and make the difference in the lives of people. I just think in general, we don't talk enough about that. I know in my company, what we do is roughly once a week. We need to do more. But we talk about an example of a client that we've been able to service, and people feel great when they're watching and listening to that example, right? It's something very powerful that we should all strive to do more. Number three, cast a big vision about where your organization and where is going and where they fit inside of it. Believe me when I tell you this, if you're not casting a vision for your people, somebody else is going to. And the people go where there's vision. That's how it works. You got to be talking about, hey, we're going to be here in a year. We're going to be here in 5 years, 10 years from now. You won't even believe what this looks like. You got to cast a vision that's big enough that everybody can fit inside of it and constantly be talking about it. And then number four, I'll give you this last one. Look, guys, you've got to pay good people well. You've got to pay good people well, right? When they're doing a great job for you, when they're in key roles. This is not, I used to cheap out on different positions that I needed to pay within my organization, and I'm telling you, it hurt me. And now that I've got wonderful people in those positions, I want to make sure that they're happy and that they feel motivated. And this is not a place to cheap out on $2-3 an hour, you guys. It's time to pay good people well. If there's two more things I'd give you, would be this. Number one, look guys, you got to continue to grow as leaders. None of us are finished products when it comes to leadership. We've all got a long way to go. I have this belief that we're typically capable of leading a team that's roughly just a little bit bigger than the one that we currently have. But if I want to double, if I want to triple my organization, I have to continue to grow. I've got to continue to get better with people. I got to continue working on my leadership. I'll give you a couple ways that I do that. Number one, I want to be around great leaders. Right? We tend to be like the people that we're around. So as much as I can, I'm with my coaches. I'm with my coaches' coaches as much as I can be. I want to read great leaders. I want to read John Wooden. I want to read John Maxwell. and obviously more. But those are a couple of great places that you can start. But continue to work on yourself as a leader, and you're gonna keep more people around. And the last thing I'll tell you is this. Look, guys, just be a little bit more excited about what it is that you're doing. Excitement creates curiosity. Curiosity is gonna bring people to you, right? You don't need to be fake. In fact, I don't want you to be fake, right? But I want you to be a slightly more excited version of you. And I think that with some of these things, if you're able to put them together, that you're gonna be able to take this year and really grow. And it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be prosperous for you. It's gonna be prosperous for me. I know I'm looking forward to having just a huge year and keeping lots more people around, right? So, hey, look, guys, if you found this helpful, as always, please subscribe. Please share it with somebody that could use this information. And hey, have a great day. I know I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of this and have a nice dinner, and we'll talk to you guys next time.